Have you ever had an alla vodka sauce? You know, like Penne Alla Vodka, one of the best pasta recipes ever. You must have had it. Penne Alla Vodka. Well, imagine taking the foundations of that dish and then taking it to a place where we've never been before. I'm going to turn on the stove and there's going to be all the elements of Penne Alla Vodka, but we're actually using a fettuccine for this one. So we're doing it a little bit different, and guess what? We're going to top it with burrata. Yes, you don't know what burrata cheese is? Oh, wait until you see where we're going. Now, normally olive oil, we're going to add a little bit of butter. Why are we adding butter to it? Because we can. Imagine if you've had a bad day and you just need that pasta dish. This is that one. This is that, it sings you that love song. It's that kiss, that cuddle, that lovely thing. When we think about alla vodka, when you think about that dish, we need to balance the sweet, the tangy. We need to balance them, and now we can balance them with a bit of onion. So I'm going to turn this on and I'm going to add some chopped onion, just some white onion, and we're going to start to cook the onion first. We don't want to, with the onion, we're only looking to sort of sweat it off. We're not looking to caramelize it. And I'll add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil just to get those cooking nicely. As you come into the pan, we'll let these cook for about 2 minutes, and when you come back, you'll see they'll start to sweat. So you can see that they've been cooking for about a minute. They're not really brown, but it's just starting to release some of that flavor. At this stage now, I'm adding a sliced garlic to the pan, stirring that around. We want to let this cook for about a minute. We don't want the garlic to overcook. Quite often when people cook garlic, they have a tendency to let it go too far. As garlic gets deeper in color, it becomes more bitter. We want to just seduce the garlic. You can see now that these are cooking beautifully together. It smells fabulous. Mwah! 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 Tomato sauce. You can add your own marinara sauce. Vodka. We add the vodka now because we want most of the alcohol to cook out. So I use quite a bit of vodka in this one. And what we want to do is add it here, because as this cooks out now, the effervescence and the alcohol, the majority of it will cook out. And it really does add a good taste. If you don't like vodka, you could use some chicken stock in there. You could use some white wine if you haven't got vodka. If you was using meat, you could use some red wine. And remember this dish, you could use some shrimp, chicken, pieces of salmon. You could have fun with it. What we want to do is let this cook down for about 3 to 4 minutes until that alcohol is cooked out. Take a look. Look how thick it's become. You can see that it's become this thick sauce, and all of the vodka, the alcohol has evaporated from it. Now what we're going to do is add some cream, some heavy cream. I told you this was naughty, this one, didn't I? But it's fabulous. So we're adding some cream to it, and I'm going to give it a little shake. See, isn't it wonderful, that pink color? It's got a gorgeous color to it. We're going to let this cook for about another 2 minutes, reduce this down, and then I'm going to move it to one side. I'm going to bring a pot of water in, because I want to talk about how to cook fresh pasta, because cooking homemade fresh pasta is much different than dried pasta. So this is going to reduce for 2 minutes. Daddy will do a transition, and then we'll come into the pasta. Happy days.
How about we do some magic, Joe?
Do some magic. What are we going to do?
Snap your fingers.
What a transition! The pot's there! So when you cook fresh pasta, it's much different than dried pasta. Dried pasta, we're always going to be using about 4 quarts of water and 1 tablespoon of salt. With fresh pasta, we're just going to use we've got about 8 cups of water, and then we're going to add half a cup of salt. sorry, about 1/3 of a cup of salt. So you're gonna say to me, why so much salt, John? Remember, we wanna get the flavor in there. The pasta's only gonna be in there for 60 seconds. Dried pasta would be in there for about between 6 to 12 minutes. So we wanna get as much flavor in that 60 to 90 seconds as what we can into that pasta water. When you're using this pasta water, just be careful when you're using it to, thin the sauces out, or if the sauce locks up, because you don't want it too salty. And it definitely tastes like the ocean. Here's our fresh pasta that we taught you how to make. You can get this recipe by going to the description below. We also made a beautiful limoncello ragu. I'm gonna add the pasta to the pot, just shaking it about as we go in, just twisting it about. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir to break it up to make sure it doesn't stick together, bringing that up, and I'm gonna let that cook. You can see that it's starting to cook beautifully. At this stage now, I'm gonna bring this off to one side, and now we're gonna put the pan back on, heating up the sauce. Remember, 60 to 90 seconds, that's all you need for fresh pasta. Getting the fresh pasta, I'm gonna finish it off in the sauce. A little bit of that water's going in there. Now remember, it's nice and salty, that water. For the last minute, we want to marry these together. Now this one, I told you it was naughty. I said to you, this is the world peace pasta. Normally with pasta, they say don't use too much sauce. I'm just gonna get the pasta, I'm gonna come around. That pasta is starting to eat all the sauce. It's starting to drink it. I'm gonna take some Parmesan cheese, shave the Parmesan cheese on top of the pasta. Remember, I told you, this isn't just any alla vodka recipe. This is better. That's why I didn't use penne. I didn't want it to be associated with that. Boursin cheese, a herb cheese. Now we've got that, next thing we want to do is take some fresh basil. We've got some basil. I'm gonna just pull them apart so you don't have basil in every bite. Now that's sat in there just for a second, okay? A little bit of pepper. Now watch this. Are you ready for this? I want you to put on, at home, put on your most romantic music, because as I toss this around, it's gonna make you feel so good. Watch, here we go. Just listen. Look at that, as the cheese melts. Grab some of that, bring it off. Look at that creaminess. Place it in there, yeah? And remember I said to you, this is going to a place we've never gone before. Burrata cheese, the creamy mozzarella cheese. Cut it in half, place that on top, just like that. A small amount of olive oil. And then, remember, we need texture. We've got soft. Small amount of toasted breadcrumbs. They come around it. And then what we do then, mate, is just to finish it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And that, my friends, is quite possibly the best pasta recipe you will ever have. I hope you enjoyed this recipe today. As always, what we always say, it's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it. Always remember, be positive, because it feels better than being negative. If you loved the recipe today, they've told me I've got to ask you to subscribe. And they've also told me I've got to ask you, if you really liked it, please share it with others. Our only goal is to help you cook. Until next time, I'm John Ashton, and this is the best pasta recipe you'll ever have in your life, guaranteed. Mwah.